Well, a good day, I guess, for the most part overall at the stable, but not pleased with my performance, to be honest. I got Austro Hanover beat for sure. Tailgate Buzz, I think I had a good enough reason to keep going with him. In my mind, I thought I was going to drop in the 4-hole, and Dave Pallone was going to quarter pole to the front, which I think was a given. Even after the race, in hindsight, I think a given. And I would have been left first over uncovered, and I just thought I'd try my luck. Either I would make front, tap the brakes, and Dave would come, or I would make front, tap the brakes, and Austro, coming in the way he was, I thought would give them all they wanted. As it turned out, he faded. I could hear him touching his knees too. We added some pads to him on his feet after the Philadelphia issue with his foot, and James drove him. He told me he was touching his knees again, faltered on the front end. And then he raced very good last week, but I only unleashed him late in the mile. I didn't think he was at his knees that bad, but again, he was only used for 1/8 of a mile, and tonight he used harder. He was touching his knees, and I believe it was probably a combination of those pads and the fact that his feet are probably hurting him a little bit. So, in a minute, sweetheart, you can. So I wasn't as upset about Tailgate Buzz. You know, in hindsight, you'd say to yourself, well, dropping the 4-hole behind Dave, you're covered up behind Dave. I just don't think it would have played out that way. I think I would have dropped in the 4-hole, and Dave immediately would have went on the attack, cleared to the front, and then I'm left uncovered. So the other thing was Tailgate Buzz scoped quite sick afterwards. And, you know, this weather, this time of year, this isn't the first time it's happened. Nevertheless, he made the final. I think both of them have made the final, if I'm not mistaken. I had to look at the final points, but Austro had the last position, ended up 4th. I don't think anybody knocked him off tonight, but I do have to take another look at that. And then we'll talk about Austro in a minute. We'll start from the top. Alibaba's race was canceled. A monsoon in Illinois. Jim Eaton had sent me a short video. He said the skies just opened up, and it was pouring rain. So frustrating, but nevertheless a little delay, a little more time for us to get her cleaned up maybe also. I got to the track. I thought Hornplayer raced great. This is exactly how I lost Tim's horse last week. I just got there, a blink of an eye early with her, and lost her momentum at the gate. Ended up getting away poorly. Finished up very strong. I thought I was second for a minute, but she ended up third. It doesn't really change my feelings on the trajectory of Hornplayer. I think she's having a great summer. I think she's improving every start, and I do think her next start will be the Casual Breeze. Crantini raced next. I got away behind 2 horses that are better than most of the horses he's raced against the last 7-8 starts. Those are 2 killers. Herodotus trotted in 52 his last start at the Meadowlands. And the other colt, the Louis horse. The other Louis horse, we'll be there in a minute, sweetheart. The other Louis horse had missed the board all year and was coming in razor sharp also. I did notice that the Louis horse was running in a little bit, so I wanted to get a run at him in the last turn, and it was not a factor. Finished third, shot at 54 to piece. I wasn't disappointed, but we did want to have a peek under the hood, and we scoped him, and there was a tiny trickle of blood and some redness at the top of his throat. Not shocking. This horse is raced. He's been hard on himself, but he's been racing hard. And although you could say, we'll treat him up and I think he'll be fine, I also have my concerns going into a race like the Beal where he's going to have to be at 105%. I do have my concerns also about that. So we went ahead and put Crantini on Lasix for next week's Beal race. And I don't think either of the 2 horses that raced tonight, that I haven't changed my mind on bringing either of them to the Beal. The only way they don't get in is if they don't have enough money. So, well, that is it. We'll see how that plays out next week after the draw. No, same close. So as it turns out, Alibaba's race canceled. Hornplayer raced as good as she could, just got picked off the wire, just finished third. Thought she was second, but raced great. Crantini, I thought, raced good. And then when you factor in that little bit of blood and mucus, thought he raced rather good, and certainly not changing my mind at all about what we're going to do with him. Kings County got roughed up in a short field, cleared to the front, 26-2. 122 and a piece en route to finishing kind of a very flat looking 151 and a piece. Trotted 52 and a bit. I talked to Stacy after. It's not official yet, but I think we're going to bring Kings County to Georgian Downs next week for the Earl Rowe Memorial. Goes for pretty good money, and little change of scenery might not hurt King for a little bit. Don't worry, he won't be long going back to Scioto for sure. But for now, I think it makes all the sense in the world. We'll race Kings County at the Earl Rowe Memorial next week. After that was Tailgate Buzz. As I said, I still believe my overall view of the race in the first turn was correct. The horse just didn't, he was a little bit flat at his knees a little bit more. As I said to Tim, need to work on his feet, get those pads off him. His best racing was done with just aluminums on earlier in the summer, so we need to work rather hard. I think a good idea, as I said to Tim, might be just jog him all week with flip-flops, and then the day of the race, or even the day before the race, just take the flip-flops off, put the aluminums on, same nail holes, just put them on him, poultice his feet up and race him the next day, and I think we'll have a big race out of Tailgate Buzz. I forbid you. She's a frustrating little filly. I drove a horse for Kevin Johnson earlier in the night that was an easy winner, and he did the moonwalk late in the stretch and finished second. Well, I forbid you. She came to go at that filly. That filly was a better filly, had everything her own way. I went to come to him at the head of the lane, and she had fought for 3 pylons and decided, you know what, that horse looks really tough. I'm just going to hang out here. And pulled a little bit of a hanger routine and finished second, but raced okay, 54 and 1 off at 57, an okay mile. Great mile from Major Megan, finishing second. Why isn't he on here? I got to rewind here in a second. The highlight of her entire day, or one of them. Major Megan, second to a very good horse in the pouring rain in the mud at Northfield, 153 and 2. She paced 54 and a bit. Raced great. Good drive by Kurt Sugg too. Great job by Kurt. Rewind all the way. The biggest highlight of the day, Mounds for All. Adam Rucker drove him himself, messaged me after and said, you know, I feel bad. I had a lot of respect for this horse going into the race, and then I drove him like he was the best. If I had driven him like he wasn't, you know, you get paid pretty good money, and that was on me. I apologize. Adam drove him himself and ended up a mediocre 6th, but it turned out to be the exact same time as Mel Gibson, who was an easy winner, 158 and 2, and he jogged in Indiana today. That horse is 4 for 4 and has like 45,000 made. I gotta exit here. Can you pull it up on your maps? PNC Park. I'm gonna take the kids to watch the last 3 or 4 innings of the Pittsburgh Pirates game on the way home. It's just off the highway here as we're driving along. So Mel Gibson raced great. Very, very impressed with him today. Looked very professional. And although Mounts for All didn't race as good as we hoped, I think, you know, had Ronnie been there to drive him, Ronnie ran. And nothing against Adam Rucker, but even he would explain, I would say the same thing. I'm not as good as Ronnie. I don't think Adam is either. I think if Ronnie had driven him ahead of that post grade the other day, we would have had a lot of luck with both of those horses. And the biggest mistake I've made in a while, and just a race that really left me angry at myself, was Austro Hanover. I got him in a good spot. He was biting the left line, which he generally does anyway, around the last turn. He usually is better when you get him to the right, but he will. He's a winner. You get him to the left, he would have been fine. And just that little hint of indecisiveness really cost you and cost me, and I apologize to my partners on this horse. I drove him like a jackass. All I had to do was force him left, rip him to the inside, and I get up and win by a head. Now, he did also scope a little bit of mucus and a trickle of blood, but that didn't matter. No excuses for that. There was no way he was going to lose had I just made up my mind. And if I had committed to the right, there was room for me to go through there, and there would have been room because Drew Monty couldn't have protected that middle lane because his horse was drifting and he was driving on him also. He couldn't have protected that lane. I could have snuck and wiggled my way through. Had I just picked one lane and stuck with it, we're in the winner's circle with Austro. And you know who I feel the worst for? Mary and Jerry drove all the way there. They love Austro Hanover, always have. Drove all the way to the Meadows to watch all the horses race. Had not one win picture all weekend. And the horse that Mary loves was going to win, and I cost her the win. And I apologize most of all to Mary and Jerry, too, for what I hope you don't think it was a wasted trip, but I certainly could have made your day had I driven just a little bit better. That is 100% on me, and I do apologize. Time is on my side. Looks like he used them a little hard leaving, then got jammed up in the middle half. And he, you know, a horse has been off 2.5 weeks, coming off the virus. It's not Scott's fault. I don't think it was a bad drive by Scott Young, just circumstances. And I'm more interested in next week, not tonight. Give him a pass. Next week is what I'm looking for. Yo, Mister looked great. I thought it was Brett, and Amy just told me it was Austin Hanners that drove the horse. Good job by Austin Hanners. He drove the horse perfect. He looked good, 52 and 4. Big night tonight for Yo, Mister, and very proud of him. And then our boy Brace. look great in the next one. Tyler Borth.
I never said anything.
Tyler Borth drove the horse very good, very well rated mile, and the thing I like the most is he allowed Tyler to rate the mile perfectly. A mathematical masterpiece by Tyler tonight. 28, 57, 126 and 4, mile 54 and 2, 126 and 2, a mile 54 and 2, or 54 and 4, whatever. He raced very good and looked very good. He too, we're going to be entering him. We're going to enter him in the Beal. Now, I don't know if he has enough money to get in the A, B, or C, certainly not the A, but at the B or C division. I hope to see. I hope he can get in. I'd love to race him there, coming off 2 wins and looking much more professional and much more focused. Look great tonight. Now, I'm going to have to stop the video there because I haven't seen JK Victory yet. I haven't seen Think of Galaxies yet. But what I saw today was a lot of good miles, a very mediocre driving display by me in regards especially to Austro Hanover. I'm not going to apologize for Tailgate Buzz because I think if we look at the race in hindsight, it's easy to say you should have dumped him in the 4-hole, but I think the race is totally different if I do. So call it mucus, call it whatever you want. We will be committed to having both those horses razor sharp for the Stallion Series final. I believe as of right now they both made it in, and I'll be very excited to see their names on the sheet for sure coming up. So not a bad day. Mel Gibson was a winner. Brace for Landing looked great. Yo Mister looked great. Pretty good day top to bottom. Can't wait to watch Think of Galaxies and JK Victory coming up later on. But for now, we are on our way and almost to PNC Park. Addie and Amy and Ollie and I are going to take in the last 3 innings of the Pittsburgh Pirates. They are losing, but I am interested and eager to see the Dela Cruz kid play. And who knows, maybe we'll see some fireworks in the later couple of innings. But for right now, on our way to PNC Park, en route, our destination will be Macedonia. So with that, I hope you guys had a great day. If you didn't, and it was my fault, I apologize. If you did, congratulations. Good luck to everybody with the JK Victory Group, and Think of Galaxies also. Take care.